you can stack them. Hey everybody, what is up? My name is Mackenzie.
And I'm Jonathan.
We are husband and wife, and we'd like to welcome you to TerreDice. And today, we are talking about the brand new expansion by Stonemaier Games to Viticulture, and that is Viticulture World.
Okay, now it's been like almost 10 years since Viticulture was originally released. It is a classic on our shelves. We love this game. We play it all the time. And this expansion kind of flips it on its head. So it was originally a competitive game. It is now a fully cooperative experience. We're on a brand new board. It introduces 7 different continents that you sort of play in and against to become world-renowned. And then it introduces seasonal workers as opposed to your trained year-long workers between the summer and the winter, as well as innovation tiles, which can upgrade how actions work and how worker placement spaces work. There's more to it, but I think we're gonna give you a quick overview of Viticulture and then dive on in.
Let's go. All right, so Viticulture. For those that don't know, a brief overview of the base game. You are winemakers on an Italian villa, your mama and a papa, and you are going to be growing grapes. You're going to be turning those grapes into wine, and then you're going to be fulfilling orders in order to have revenue each year. And you're trying to become the best winemaker. That's how you win the game. You have workers that can be used in the summer and the winter, and you divide them up into different actions in order to complete these tasks. Now, I love this game. We actually included it in our part 2 of Board Games for Couples for our best 2-player game. I find this super romantic, the base game, and it's very calm and peaceful, but also super strategy heavy, and I love this game. It's beautiful.
Okay, if you are familiar with Stonemaier Games' sort of like business model around expansions, a lot of the times they're fan-made. So it was actually fans of the game who loved it and had an idea for an expansion. Jamie saw it over on Board Game Geek or wherever it was and said, yeah, we should make something of this. So this was actually designed by 2 designers, by Mihir Shah and Francesco Testini, who both worked on this for like the last 2 years. So it's pretty cool. Okay, so Viticulture World, very similar to Tuscany. We got a brand new board. The big thing here, you'll notice all the actions are highlighted with these like boxes, dashed lines around them. That is because everything is upgradable in this game. So a big piece of it is the innovation tiles, which can upgrade your actions so that make 2 wines becomes make 3 wines and age 1 twice, or plant becomes plant 2 grapes and your second one can ignore the size of your field. So you're normally limited by, you know, how many grapes you can have. It's a 5, 6, or 7 field, and that lets you pass that. So this can be really helpful. Now you're also limited by how many workers you can put on each of these spaces. If you upgrade the worker placement space, you can actually unlock that limit, so any number of workers can visit that space. And then your trained workers, which is anybody not wearing one of these funky rubber hats, they get to basically get a bonus, whether it's they get more money, they get to age some grapes, they get to do something. Those can be very, very helpful. So beyond that, it uses everything pretty much the same way. You got a very similar spring wake-up track. You also have influence, which is the way that you win in this game in addition to your victory points. And then there's now this year track, which they've reused the first player marker in kind of a clever way.
Yeah, so there is like a time limit on the game. So he was talking about these rubber hats. So what they are, because this is different for this game, you have the yellow hats and then you have the blue hat people. So the yellow hat people can only be used in the summer season. The blue hat people can only be used in the winter season. So you're limited at the beginning. Yeah. But you can change this by, you can go and train your workers and then boop, this hat comes off. And then this can be used in the summer or the winter.
Okay, so now that you know what's going on here, the gist of Viticulture World, you are trying to be cooperative on one of 7 continents. So that's our 6 continents minus Antarctica, and then Green Gully, which is actually a callback to Charterstone. That's the introductory continent. But basically, you are going to compete in this continent to try to become the world's most renowned vineyard. And you do that in the end by each getting to 25 on your victory points and by getting influence to 10. Now, how you do that is different depending on the continent. So the game takes place over 6 years, and cards will come out that will actually detail tons of history about those continents, about how winemaking got there, who started it, what the history of, the first winemakers
Real
in that
history.
country. Yeah. But basically we're challenged to meet the different ways that that continent was challenged and try to win and become the most influential.
Yeah, and they're all a little different. Each continent is not going to be the same. Each one is going to be a very different experience.
Giving an example, Oceania. So Australia was mostly imports in the beginning. It was very difficult to grow wine or to grow grapes. And so there were a lot of imports, a lot of bringing in of knowledge from Europe, and they brought in these pest-resistant grapes. It was all in the cards that we were learning this.
Yeah.
But basically because of that, that whole scenario is all about knowledge sharing. So each time things come out, you can do certain activities to share knowledge with the person to the right of you. And so you can give them grapes, you can give them wine, you can give them victory points. There's like all these kind of cool things. But I really, really appreciated that. Some of the other ones change the board, they upgrade or change the way certain actions work. Some of them give you hidden goals or personalities that's like, I'm the winemaker, I do this thing, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, and then the way the cooperative part comes into this game is that you can actually, you're going to need to, is trade with your fellow winemaker people.
Yes.
So you are going to want to do that. It is vital to the game. We learned that over a couple times of playing this, is that you are going to, let's say that Jonathan and I ended up in the same spot, and it has to be with one of my grande workers. Yeah. I can trade with him, not summer or winter cards, but he can give me grapes. I can give him plants to wine, and you kind of build the engine together.
I could give you coins and you could give me cards.
Yeah.
So it's very helpful. I think the key thing about this game is that if you want to win, no player can just play like they would in Viticulture. You can't just decide you're going to, do all this stuff. You're going to have one player who's like, I'm the grape maker and I'm going to make grapes and I'm going to give them to everybody. And you got to have one player who's filling lots of wine orders, but maybe they're the money maker and they're putting upgrades out on the board.
Yeah, because I want to reiterate, just to make it clear. So you have to make it to 10 influence, and then everybody has to make it across that 25 win marker. So it's not just one person. Everyone does. Yeah. I love the theming, but this game is hard. It is hard. And like he was saying, you really have to think about you really have to change your mindset in how you play viticulture, which if you love viticulture and you've played a lot of it, that can be a fun new challenge because it is different. We're talking about if viticulture was going to have another expansion, it should be cooperative.
Yeah, I mean, the game's been around 10 years. It's like, it's time to flip it on its head and do something different. And I think overall, it was to very good effect.
Yes.
I think that, like you were saying, it took a second to kind of figure out, how do we all get across that 25 point marker? Yep. I frequently was the one who did not make it across. But once we kind of figured that out, it's all about teamwork. It's all about trading. Also, another really interesting thing that we didn't really talk about, but these summer and winter visitor cards. Usually, if you remember them, if you've played the base game, when you play one out, it says, all players may build a structure for 2 less, and for every player who does, you get a victory point. That's usually a bad thing. It's like you don't want your opponents to build structures, or if you do, it's because you really need those victory points. In this, that's actually a very good thing. You play that card to help everybody when everyone's got the money. And so you got to have the people playing the cards at the right time to win, which I thought was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's very interesting. And your strategy, I was playing, we were playing a 4-player game. I didn't fulfill a single wine order the entire time, and I made it over the 25 mark. I was the farmer, and I was making all of the grapes, and then I would trade them with Jonathan, and then he would go out and sell them. So I got points from farming, using my windmill, using my summer winter cards to just gain points, and then he got points from selling the wine, and also you ended up with no fields at the end, so you were just selling wine.
I sold all my fields.
With no fields. So you're really going to play it very differently.
And the innovations, they're key. There's the sell wine to gain money equal to its value. When that gets upgraded, you also get victory points equal to half the wine's value. So if it was a 8 wine, you're going to get 4 victory points for that. So that's a great way to kind of get points, is by innovating early and often.
Yeah, there are a lot more ways to get points, especially when you go into the different continents. There's going to be different things when these continent cards come out. Usually they're going to involve getting you some sort of victory point if you do what they say. Or some money that would help you gain victory points in that aspect. So we were able to play this game at 4, and then we also played it at 2. The only time we won this game, And I think we're pretty good at viticulture. The only time we won this game is when we played it at 4-player. We never were able to win this game at 2. And man, we were up at like 1 a.m. We're like, we gotta win this game. And the only variance in the 2-player is that you start the influence, which is a little leaf token up here. You start a little higher. But the 2 players still have to get to that 25 point.
One thing that can be challenging in a game like this is quarterbacking, honestly.
Yeah.
We could not figure out how to win when we were uncoordinated. And so it came down to one of us saying, you're going to do this because that's the only thing that can get us this point. Like, I don't have enough money. You got to be the one to buy that. And I think that's unfortunately something that just like really made the 2-player game less fun for us. It just, in our experience, it's very difficult without being totally kind of hive mind on this. So there's an introductory, easy, medium, hard, and we never replayed a continent, so we just kept going up in difficulty. So that contributed. Probably if we played introductory, we could win 2-player.
Yeah, but we did play 4-player at medium, and we're able to win. So we did actually find out that there's going to be a promo pack that is going to be included in everyone's copy that actually has a easier version that's before of Green Gully, which is easier than Green Gully for that intro to kind of get a handle of how you're going to have to play Viticulture World differently. So I think people have more success for that if they're trying it out for the first time.
Like we said before, this is exactly what the next expansion should have been. Cooperative, turns everything on its head, and it is like so much fun. I really actually enjoyed this experience, and it didn't get old when we were playing it. Another thing I really like, in the spring when you're all choosing when to wake up, that's a cooperative decision. So you choose, how about you go first, then you go, you get this bonus because you need that bonus. And we all kind of decide like what we want with our little rooster. And then when we change seasons, you kind of keep that order then, and you go to the middle, which I thought was pretty cool. I think it works out pretty well. Yeah.
And to me, I like the cooperative aspect of when I would do really well, or I'd grow a bunch of grapes, or and everyone at the table would be like, yeah, good job, Mackenzie, because it's for the group.
So the hats are yellow and blue, which fit the summer and the winter. There are yellow and blue meeples for 2 of the players, and if you play with those, it is so confusing because it's just like I have a blue meeple with a yellow hat and a yellow meeple with a blue hat.
And then when their hats come off, it's just like, what? Like, who am I? So I would not recommend playing with those player colors.
If you can avoid it.
If you can avoid it. Or at least not both of them at the same time.
The original Viticulture games where the art was done by Beth Sobel. I don't know what the reason is for the change in the art. We didn't dig into it. But the art in Viticulture World is all done by Andrew Bosley. On the whole, he did a really good job. I think the board looks really good.
The board is a good match.
The cards look very good. So all that I think worked out really well. I will say though that I am not a huge fan of the box cover. So it's just a lot more cartoony. We got a very different sort of feel on it. The colors are also a lot more saturated, and we got a different font for the title, and it's even offset a little. I don't know if you can see, but it's like half an inch or so to the right. But I just don't think to me it doesn't feel like as much love went into making this look like it was a viticulture expansion like everything else. Because the box or the board matches quite well. It doesn't affect the actual gameplay at all.
No.
We also, oh my gosh, I didn't even talk about it. We got new mamas and papas.
Yes.
So they're called just blue and red cards now. So we got more of those, but the twist is they're flipped. So you now have the blue and red are now flipped for who is the mama, who is the papa. So you got dudes on the previously female side and then women on the men's side. That means that you can swap up and you also can tell by the backs of the cards which ones are which. So you can create whichever combo there matches you, which I think is something that people kind of wanted, a little less heteronormality.
We recommend and have recommended the base game as a great 2-player game. For Viticulture World, the expansion, I would not recommend it as a great 2-player game. No. I would recommend it as a great cooperative game for the 4-player. So if you're looking for a challenge, if you like viticulture and like playing vit, and you're looking to spice it up and try something different with the same sort of theme and same sort of actions, then I would try the cooperative version at 3 to 4 player. All right, everyone, and that is our review of Viticulture World, the new expansion to Viticulture. This game is going to be on pre-sale soon, so I will put that link down below if you to be notified of when that goes to pre-order. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can know whenever we put out a new video. And thank you so much to Stonemaier Games for sending this over to us so we get a chance to try it out and to be able to share it with all of you. All right, guys, we'll see you next time.
Happy playing!